doing it, streaming again, doing some development. You know, I feel like when I'm in the same room as you, I feel pretty stupid saying all this.
You don't have to worry about it. I'm just listening.
Great. Perfect. All right. So we got PG Lite working in our sort of template instance last time, so now we're going to translate this to the autorouting.com API, which will make this page stop being an application error. So pretty straightforward. We'll have to do some schema design, some other stuff. So let's get to it. This is the start of Christmas weekend for many people. I think it's the 23rd on Monday. So, you know, you might not have the day off, but probably a lot of people are going to make it a vacation day. Okay, so we'll call this autorouting.com backend. It's kind of a weird naming convention. Not sure how I feel about that, but I'm going to keep it. And we'll create this from, the template API project. Looks good. Okay. Okay, we'll move that to the right half of the screen, and then we'll pull that repo down. There's so much work to do before we deploy it that I'm not super worried about setting up the production database or anything like that, because I think we will be very lucky if we get that far. I think I could do it by tonight, but we'd be very lucky if we got that far in this stream. Okay, we'll move that to the left half. Put this down a little bit. Template API project. Yeah, I think that's it. I gotta write some blog posts. We need to see an index of everything that got done this year, because there was a lot. So I gotta do a bunch of blog posts this weekend. We'll probably be working on that. Okay, let's make sure the tests work. We got to install, run the tests. Nice. We were talking about Game Pass on the earlier stream, and that is a dangerous temptation. I would love to put on my VR headset and just play some Starfield, but can't do it. Can't let it happen. Cool. I think I can close this. I don't think we need it. We'll need other stuff. We'll have to pull in some other projects for our AI to give our AI context. But we're pretty good. So there's even an initial migration written for us with some junk data inside of it. So we're going to delete that. And we need to create tables. So this is using a Node PG Migrate is our sort of migration engine. Very simple migration engine. It's got a little bit of a DSL, but it's mostly very good. You don't need something complicated for migrations. A lot of times people like to throw something really complicated at their migrations. You don't need it. So not going to use it. Let's go to autorouting.com. We have this kind of API directory. It would be awesome to be able to turn this into OpenAPI as a spec, but that part of Winter Spec seems to be broken. So I can't turn this into a spec, but man, would that be nice. It's tempting to fix that just so that, because with that API spec, you could do whatever you wanted. It'd be amazing. But I might forego it for now just because time. Anyway, we've got this schema and we've got this. I think the schema is the main thing populating the database here. This is going to be kind of our reference for creating the tables. So yeah, we'll say name. I'm trying to decide if I want to give this. I was thinking about shoving. Do I want? Yeah, I'll probably create a new database for this. So I'll say schema main. So I'll give this its own database, this project. And for the name of our first table, we'll do dataset. And then we'll add the columns. So dataset ID, primary UUID, dataset name, created at. So I did some weird stuff here where you populate all of these. I think I made a little bit of a mistake. I think the first time I did this, I had dataset name with owner. I'm just going to make it so that you always have, I'll have the dataset name with owner as a separate column, separate generated column. There we go. Okay. Dataset name with owner. So type text. And then I think it's generated, expression generated. And then we'll do new project. A little bit. Autorouting.com. Very, very related. I had some issue. I didn't want to hop on this, especially this close to the end of the year. But I had some issues where I have a bunch of people coming to me who want to collaborate on the auto routers, but they're like having trouble using the stuff we've put together. And it's our infrastructure for generating data sets has gotten so much better. So I was just like, I need to clean up this site. It's just, it's time to clean up the site. So yeah, kind of new project, but hopefully it doesn't go past today. Yeah, it's one of those things. You know, like we have a lot of other work to do, like the CLI, you know. So hopefully it's not too much of a procrastination project. PG literal is not. I guess I can just put in the string directly there. Created at, updated at is always good. Let's see, what other columns do we want? We're just porting over our fake server. So I like to, whenever I have an API, I like to make a fake API that the front end can use. So that's what we're porting over. And then once we do one of these, we can have AI generate the rest. But it's good to have one generated. That seems good. You know, sample count really should be part of the inner join, so I won't have that there. Anything we can generate, I'll leave out for now. Median trace count is really hard to generate. How do I want to do this? This is really computed. So basically a data set has samples, and each sample can have some number of traces. So we got to be a little bit, do I want to do this? Do I want to compute this on the fly? I usually like to compute things on the fly unless there's a really good reason not to. You know, I don't even know if this makes sense, trace count. Because, does that make sense? I think that does make sense. Yeah. I think because it's a median, it's too hard to compute on the fly. So we'll put it in here. I almost want to call it cached median trace count. You know, just to kind of imply it doesn't have that level of accuracy. Okay, max layer count, same thing. It's kind of difficult to compute. Star count, that we will compute on the fly because that one changes a lot. Description MD, copy that over. All right, we're approaching the end here. Okay, so now that we've written one of these, I'm going to save my work. Okay, so whip initial migration. Then we're going to open up Aider. Let's make this bigger. We're going to open up Aider. add this current file, and then I'm going to give it this entire file. And we're going to give it some instructions. Ooh, you know, Let's give the instructions before we paste. Okay, so we're porting a Zod schema to a SQL schema. Please adjust the initial migration to match the Zod schema. Please. Oh no. It interpreted my enter. I'm not very good at multi-line. I'm going to use a scratch pad instead. Okay. Okay, so we're porting a Zod schema to a SQL schema. Please. Whoa. Please adjust the initial migration to match the Zod schema. When a column is computed, just ignore it. We'll have functions that perform subqueries to create these columns later, e.g. sample count. Okay, and then we'll paste this big file. Okay, so what we're doing is giving the AI lots of context. You know, your AI is only as successful as you make it. All right, so that's already in there. We paste this, and then, you know, off to the races. Let's see how it does. Uh-oh. Foreign UUID shorthand. Oh, no. That's not good. Foreign UUID. No. Oh, polymorphic foreign key. Oh. All right, well, there's a good lesson in there. You never, ever, 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 ever want to create a UUID like this. Terrible, terrible. So you want to do type UUID. Not null true. References. Like that. I don't like to do on deletes either. So references, dataset ID. Cascade deletes are a very cool phenomenon, but really dangerous. Yeah, and then they added after. Okay, so they kind of thought about it. We're gonna have cursor, I guess, automatically fix these. Yeah, we'll remove that. It's not so bad because it added the constraint after, but it's still just gross. Oh, I love that. That's exactly how I like to do enums in Postgres. The only annoying thing is you do have to update that check, and that can be annoying sometimes. There's so much licensure. I'm probably gonna remove that just because I don't want to deal with it. Nice. I don't know if this syntax will work, the sample ID thing. So. Okay, cool. We're going to do lots of testing, so I'm not like super worried about making sure the schema is perfect, because we're going to do so much testing on this. Let's see if it works. So bun run db reset, and this will run a PG Lite instance, or it's supposed to run a PG Lite instance. I guess I don't have that working yet. Yeah. That's okay. I don't even know how to do that, because the whole point of this reset is to enable you to generate, so it's kind of tricky. I'll have to figure that out later. So let's just run Postgres in the background. I have that keyed to insecure Postgres because it's an insecure local instance. And then we'll do db reset. It runs. It's kind of surprising, actually. I didn't know you could use that syntax for references. That is a really great syntax. I really like that syntax. I was using objects, very verbose. It's doing this create table sample thing. I don't love that because I don't know if it's going to create it on the right schema. Because it tends to use the public schema by default, which I don't like to use. Should I adjust it? Can I do it automatically? Okay, hopefully I didn't mess it up anywhere. Okay, so now these are all being created in the run schema. So very easy to transition a Zod schema to a Postgres schema. Let's reset it again, make sure it works. Oh, main does not exist. Okay, cool. That's expected. So we're going to say pgm create schema main. Also, these comments are terrible. Create, where you just explain. Terrible comment. Very self-evident. All right. Okay. Relation dataset does not exist. Okay. Relation dataset does not exist. It's the first table we create. I'm glad I knew this was working earlier. Okay, so it's complaining about, oh, these need to be, let's see if that gets us further. Relation sample doesn't exist. Okay, no problem. Just got to add the prefix for the schema. Again, if you use public, you don't have to do this. Or if you adjust the Postgres search path, you don't have to do this. But I like to do it. Use the main schema. Just because when you scale up your application, you can do fun things if you already have a sort of a system that supports schema names. Because a lot of times when people use public, they don't think about schema names, and then they don't use, for example, ORMs that have good support for it. Okay, that's initial migration. Attempt at initial migration. Okay, so now we port endpoints probably. This is where I really wish I could just port this to OpenAPI real quick, but I can't. So basically we already have the definitions for most of these types. So we're more or less repeating this code. Maybe I'll copy it all out. Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll copy it all out. Ooh. So first I need the schema, the Zod schema. I'm going to throw that in here. Let's make a lib types directory. I'll throw it in there, and then I'll call it public schema. So these are the objects the public knows about. That's useful for putting together endpoints. And then this routes thing, we're going to delete what we have there already. And then we're going to dump in all of our routes. API routes. Cool. Okay. Nice. Oh, wait. Did I do that wrong? Hold on. Routes. Yeah, I did that wrong. Okay. That's better. Yeah, I think the past 3 streams, I've basically taken this project from end to end. We're using a lot of existing TS Circuit infrastructure for creating the data sets, which is pretty easy, surprisingly easy to create data sets. But other than that, it's basically from scratch. This route was never defined to begin with. For these routes, we're not going to do anything. Maybe I can take that out. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we comment it out. I'll do this. So I'm just leaving like breadcrumbs for the AI. And then we'll throw new error, not implemented otherwise. What is it complaining about? API lib DB schema. Okay, so it's complaining about importing the schema. We haven't set up the TS config very well yet. Yeah, it's basically not set up. So base URL, we'll add paths, do lib. This is my preference for most projects, is if you have a lib, just import from lib /. A lot of people like this ampersand thing, or not ampersand, the @ sign. I don't like it. Okay, so we'll adjust that import. Types, public schema. Nice. Okay. All right, nice. Just going through, fixing types. Maybe this could be done automatically, but it's not. Yeah, cursor's already simplifying a lot of the work. We have to throw this not implemented error. Okay, cool. So let's just keep doing it. Hopefully cursor keeps helping. Good. Do that. Okay. I like how cursor is inserting comments and stuff. A lot of times I've noticed with Claude, it's like, it has some like rules that it doesn't like to violate. Like it doesn't like to insert comments, and so it'll actually remove comments from my code sometimes. I think Sonnet will do that too. Oh, now you're not helping me. Okay. Other fun thing, if you come from the Rails world, I think coming from the Rails world is really funny. Like, or having worked with Rails for a while, and then working, and maybe also working in like a somewhat production setting, but Rails is so crazy and efficient how they do things by default with their ORM. And so Keasley is really sophisticated. You can do things super efficiently with Keasley. But if you're coming from Rails, it's like you realize how many round trips to the database, you know, how many times you can call the database and it won't matter. Nobody will notice. That's why it kind of bothers me that Vercel has gone so crazy on their optimizations. They're like optimizing the hell out of Next.js for all these use cases. And it's like, you know, at the end of the day, people just need to ship their pretty simple SaaS. Okay, we're getting there slowly but surely. So like, you know, the way this is set up, if you port this code directly, it's really inefficient. There's going to be tons of round trips. Basically every section where I'm like, oh, if this doesn't exist, you could do this all with one database query, subqueries, etc. Or you can just, you know, do a bunch of round trips and optimize it when you need to, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Especially with all the caching, caching is a lot easier than other things to set up. So we're going to cache the hell out of this, and then it's going to be so cached that like these paths won't be called directly that often when you actually need the data. All right, cool. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. So now the AI can see what the code used to look like. Let's make sure everything's still building. Ooh, cannot find module. Okay, so we got a little type error. Cool. Okay. And this guy should automatically... Oh, there's no middleware for throwing on a DB. We also have the wrong production API. I think this is going to be datasetapi.autorouting.com. Ah, it's so weird. I have this with DB thing right here. So yeah, with DB. Oh, it is there after auth. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if we have one authenticated thing you can do. So if you go to autorouting.com, you go to contribute, you can log in and you can do some authenticated stuff. But we don't need to worry about that too much. This page is so boring looking. It's so white and black. I should add some color. How does Hugging Face do it? How do they add color? Their logo has some color. I guess they add it in really subtle ways. Because they seem like a colorful site, but they are, you know, in fact, quite gray. But just that little touch of color, signaling the willingness to use color, makes them feel colorful. Cool. All right. So let's see. The other thing we're going to need is a bunch of admin pages. So we'll need admin auth. Yeah, okay. Need admin auth so that I can create or view some of the data directly. Yeah, we need to actually get data into the system. We also need to implement the endpoints. And I'm also wondering if we want some functions to make implementing these endpoints easier rather than using the sort of the database client directly. Also, I think, let's see, DB reset. Let's run this again. And then let's do generate types. What is it called? Is it DB generate? DB generate? So this will drop off a bunch of types for us. So that we can, oh, some other interesting things. The name of the database, debug API. So we'll change this to, yeah, auto routing is probably fine. Schemas, main. Okay, cool. I didn't even know. Did not know I had to configure that. Oh, name of the package. autorouting.com-backend. Sticking with that convention, committing to it. Cool. Okay. Format. What else did I do? Bootstrap routes. Routes with not implemented. But the nice thing is, because we copied over those routes, they're going to match the fake API that the front end was implemented against directly. So that front end works when you run it locally because we have a fake API set up and it loads from it no problem. So it should be pretty easy. And it's kind of got that sample implementation there. So this is my favorite way to implement APIs, where it has a really basic sample application or sample implementation that it can reference. So we'll build off that. There, it's getting hot in here. We got the heat on. Hold on one sec. Okay. What do we need? We could implement some tests. We could like simulate the seed being created again. That was pretty cool how we generated a seed. Do I want to do that? Yeah, that's a good idea. So we will seed the database with a bunch of data. So in our scripts directory, we already have some scripts. We're going to make a new one. We're going to call it generate seed. Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah, generate seed. Yeah. And we'll copy this over from the autorouting.com, the one used for the fake API. So lots of copying. It's kind of funny how much copying there is. So this will work a little bit different. So we'll say, let's fix the types first. Yep. Test fixtures create sample. We don't have that. That's basically the same logic, I think. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we're not allowed to use there. So we'll copy that in directly. And then we'll add the dependencies we need. Circuit SVG. Bunch of other stuff. Nice. Okay, so we're pushing these in instead. Yeah. We want to do this a little bit different. So basically, there's a couple ways to generate a seed. A nice way of doing a seed database is to generate a SQL file. So you have a seed.sql file that can literally just be uploaded or executed against your database. To do that, you usually need to pgdump that seed.sql file. I might avoid that with a custom loader. So we'll see how hard this is. Yeah, I think... It's a little tricky. So the tricky part is you can't run this every time. That's what I would normally do, is literally just run it every time, because these create sample methods are expensive to run. So we could change this. Yo, what up? Anurag, good to see ya. I hope you've enjoyed your Starfield or whatever you bought Game Pass for. How do we want to do this? I think maybe what we could do is replace this with a function called like create cached sample. And then we could change this method to seed database and just have it do it directly, but use those cache samples. COD Modern Warfare 3. Okay, yeah. That's probably... I think this was probably after you purchased it, but I was like, yeah, the hardest game to play is probably Modern Warfare games where they're first person and have trigger reflexes, but probably work out. You know, you'll probably have a good time. It's hard not to have a good time, and it's like, did you buy the deal on Slick Deals where it's like $40 for a year? $40 for a year is like, you know, it's a pretty great deal. I'm gonna try it on my VR headset if I do buy it tonight, but I don't know. I'm like 50-50 if I want it. Still mulling it over. It's a lot of commitment. I have so much to get done before 2025 begins. Christmas is kind of the best because you can kind of expect to be able to do uninterrupted work if you're got a side project or whatever. Yeah. So refactoring this, it's going to be called Seed Database. It's going to take a database client. Just got it for 1 month to know if it would even work. That's a good call. Yeah, that's a good call. How much does it cost for 1 month? Is it like $6 or something? I'm surprised they don't have a trial. They might have a free. They might have a free thing. $12. All right. Oh, what is Ultimate? EA Play. No, they both have EA Play. Online console multiplayer. Oh, you can't do multiplayer? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to want to port this to use Keasley, I guess. And then this create sample method, we're going to have it use a cache. The cache we're going to use is called oh man, I'm blanking on it. Crap. Oh, this one's really popular. I've never used it though. File system cache. Sure. I'm going to give this cursor update, that notification. I've been afraid to dismiss it, but let's do it. A little cursor update. I'm going to get some steps in. What's the point, you know? What's the point? Oh, wow. Cursor not going to reopen for me, huh? Autorouting.com-backend. Bold move, Cursor. You just embarrassed yourself on this live stream. Okay, so file system cache. We want to integrate this. Yeah, we'll just create a file cache, and then we'll export the cache that we create. Hopefully that works. My namespace. What should our namespace be called? Auto routing backend. SHA. Interesting. Can I select from a list? Ooh, look at all these hash algorithms. I would love something readable. What do you have that's readable? Nothing? All hash algorithms? Nobody needs those. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Time to live forever. Can I say forever? Cache. How do I say forever? Ooh. TTL. Okay, time to live. Because we're going to commit this. We're going to commit this sucker. Auto routing backend test cache. Okay, and instead of having it in a .cache directory, we're going to do test fixtures / cache. So we're gonna commit this bad boy. TTL Infinity. There's an idea. Somebody's thinking with their head. All right, YOLO. Okay. Look, at the very least, it's going to work for a very long time. Maybe. Or it'll just break. Okay, so our cache key is the circuit type and the sample number. And then we're going to try to get cached result equals await cache.get cache key. Say the default is null, just in case it has weird error behavior if you don't give it that. If we have a cache result, we do that. Otherwise, we return. I love it. Okay, create sample, generate seed. This is kind of no longer named properly. All right, so we're going to say seed database. Love it. And then we need to properly insert these into the database, but everything else should be fine. Yeah, okay. All right, so we'll probably have to port one of these manually just so that ooh, table never. What's going on with my types? Let's give the old TS server restart here. No, what? What is up with my types? Table never? Really? Interesting. Okay, there's nothing there's nothing in my Zapdos generated type file. Let's try that again. Yeah, there's so many frameworks combined together, but they all make for a really simple system when it works. When it doesn't work, it's not fun at all. Okay, there we go. Now we got some types. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Table never. Just embarrassed yourself. So insert into, and then it's kind of like what do you call this? Chaining. So why? Yeah, dataset name. Yeah, just kind of fill it in for me, please. Oh, it's getting confused. Sample count isn't in there, and then we do dot execute. Okay, this is yeah, that's a little painful. Cursor is like trying to compute. Created at, we don't need that. Star count is for some reason added. I think I need to adjust that. That shouldn't be star count. I mean, I don't know. I could cache all these things, but I just feel weird about caching it. I'm not going to cache that. Star count. These two are fine. Oh, it did. The AI kind of messed this up a little bit. Dataset name with owner. I had this as a nice generated column, and I put a lot of effort into that too. Concat owner name. Okay, cool. That's back where it belongs. Available file paths also generated. Come on, AI. Embarrassing yourself. O3 is going to embarrass me. I have a problem that AI has been sort of unable to do to date, which is build an autorouter without a million effing steps in between. I have no idea how to simplify the problem for the AI so that it's doable without being too opinionated with the solution. I want to create an environment where an AI can just build an autorouter, right? But I've been unable to do that, so I'm going to open source the data set, and hopefully somebody else can. You know, I'm putting it forward. You know, what's it called? Making it easier for the next guy. You know, standing on the shoulders of me. You know what I mean? This is not working. Create table, data set, generation expression is not immutable. Interesting. Is it the order? Actually, I haven't seen this before. Generation expression is not immutable. Is it because I used concat? Not a big fan of concat. Anybody know how to combine things? Strings in Postgres? I think it might be a dot. You can definitely do this. Oh, come on, brudda. Oh, I know it's not a plus sign. Where are my chat SQL ninjas when I need them? I'm not even going to ask it. It's an OR. It is the OR, logical OR operator. That's how you concat strings. Of course. There we go. Cursor wants to update again. You know, Cursor hasn't changed for me like ever. YOLO mode. What is YOLO mode? Auto run terminal command. Oh, geez. Oh, agent reads linter errors. That's cool. Cheaper and faster bug finding model. No. I already updated you, though. I kind of don't trust you anymore. That little pop-up. Cool. So, we good? We good now? We good? Yeah. All right. Let's see if we can... All right. Not a great generation, but... Oh, wait a second. Where's the GitHub URL and all of that crap? That's not there anymore. We missed it. AI. Website URL license type? Yeah, datasets have a license type. That's a good idea. I like that. Website URL. All right, those are all good things. Cool. Okay, so create sample cache, generate SQL types. Yeah, we did a bunch of stuff. It's hard to track. I gotta go pee. I'm gonna do the old timer. BRB. All right, I'm back. Oh, I didn't beat the timer. Sad. Cool. File system cache. Oh my gosh, it is hot in here. Main datasets. What are you complaining about? I can't even read those type errors. Oh, license type MIT. I guess you have to have a license. MIT, my favorite license. The Apache 2 is a very, very nice license for the person who creates it. It's like MIT, but it if anybody uses your software, they can't sue you for patent infringement. So it's a pretty dope license. I want to do Apache 2. I wanted to do it, but it's too complicated for me. That's how I feel about it. It feels a little bit complicated. I actually kind of like public domain. because I just don't believe that software is an advantage. And I think the world is coming around to that with all this AI coming out. But I really don't feel like software is a long-standing advantage. It's a temporary advantage. And making your code open source, putting a license on it that allows people to build on it is just you're doing everyone a favor. In many cases, in my case, I think it helps the overall ecosystem as well. That said, MIT projects fighting Apache 2 projects would be really stupid because we're almost certainly philosophically aligned. So we all kind of want the same thing. Also, AI is an IP laundering machine, and what people do is they can feed in a bunch of GPL code. It's what like Copilot is trained on, and then generate MIT code or whatever they want. So, yeah. And it's like it's almost impossible to prevent that. I'm just being pragmatic. I wish that wasn't like something that could happen, at least in that way. But there's nothing you can do to stop that, right? Like, even if you said, okay, I'm going to do an AI that only has MIT code, other people have done that. Other people have read GPL code and taken away insights and embedded it in some way into their MIT code, even if their code is worse, or other permissive licenses. So it's just a battle that I don't think is worth fighting. The GPL battle. I know it's very upsetting to a lot of people. Yeah, okay. All right, so now we're seeding the database with data. Theoretically, we're caching. We no longer need to write a cache file because the file system cache theoretically takes care of that for us. Blah, 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 must return something. We don't need to return anything. Seed database. This now mutates the database. Cool. So I think in we probably want to seed the database basically every time we create it. So I'll go ahead and do that. Await seed database for every test, and then we can test everything we just wrote. Why is it not happy? Oh, DB client isn't the same as a Keasley instance. Let's do this. DB. Does that work? Okay. So now if we run our test, okay. So it's trying to generate the samples. So this should run. Okay. There's a lot of random required dependencies, unfortunately, that don't get captured properly. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, bad UUID dataset 1. We'll just remove that. Okay. It's probably going to be a bunch of, yeah. The good news is it is progressing. Oh, shoot. Dataset ID, dataset 1. We need to be able to get that dataset ID kind of easily. Okay, so annoying, but got to do it. All right, dataset 1 equals. What we got to do? Returning. This is why it's so much nicer to do the fake one first. Execute take first. All right. So now this is going to be, yeah, this object. And we got to do that here to call this dataset 2. Yeah. Can I assert this exists like that? All right. Dataset 1 is possibly undefined. It doesn't want to take me at my word. Do we need to record the sample? Yeah, we do have to record the sample. Okay. Sample equals. Yeah, the exclamation point does nothing, so I would have to encapsulate it. And I'm being very lazy, just trying to get it done as quick as possible, so I'm not going to do that. So sample file ID, we no longer need that. Sample ID, we do that. Okay, cool. All right, go. This is going to take a while the first time. Subsequent runs should use our cache. We should be able to see our cache after too. That's actually pretty slow. So I think it's not working. I think we're not getting that cache. So let's try to find the cache. Test fixtures. I don't see a cache here. So I don't think that cache is working. So we got our cache. Oh, we never set it. Okay. So cache.set. Is that going to work? Do you accept JSON? It says value any, and it returns the path. Cool. Okay. Subsequent run. So that run took 4 seconds. Subsequent run 1.3. Okay. So now those samples are cached, and we should be able to find them. So that's the file system cache. Yeah, we got the cache there, and it's got these SHA encoded values. I wish it wasn't SHA encoded. I don't know if I can provide a custom function here. That'd be pretty sweet if I could. Hash algorithm. What do I need to be a hash algorithm? Hash algorithm. Oh, I have to be a string. Well, nothing you can do about that. Hash is a hash algorithm. Yeah, I would love it if it was just not a hash. It's for readability. Ripe MD. I wonder what ripe MD is. Ripe MD. I don't know. I don't see anything in here that's readable, so I'll give up. Maybe as SM3. Yeah, if it's a crypto function, it's not gonna work. We need yeah, it's fine. It still works. It's just less readable. Okay, so add sample cache, seeding database, working. So now we have everything we need to implement the endpoints. In fact, we could use Devin for this. Devin would probably be able to figure this out. So let's do it. It's gonna be slower though. It's probably not gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be slower. It's gonna be slower. Let's get stuff done. We wanna get home for the holidays. So we'll do aid. We'll add our routes. Add our tests. Oh, I probably don't. Let's set up an aider ignore for that cache. So touch.aider ignore, and we're gonna have aider. I almost want to ignore all the fixtures. Aider shouldn't really be messing with the fixtures. So cursor.aider ignore, and yeah, we'll just ignore the fixtures. Although it's probably fine. Yeah, we'll ignore the fixtures. We can always change this. Everything else is good. Okay, cool. All right, let's do it again. Add routes. Add tests. So it's adding a lot less now. Implement auto routers /get and write a test. Use the seed data. Okay, this is where things get tricky because it doesn't have access to the seed data. So actually, maybe I need to rethink my strategy here. Also, autorouters get, how does that work? Does that require an ID? Yeah, it requires an autorouter ID, so that's not great. Let's make that optional. We don't want to change the front end though. We didn't even use this endpoint now that I think about it. All right, we don't use this endpoint yet, so it doesn't really matter. And then we'll do autorouter name. So you should be able to get from either of these. Okay. So we'll add routes. I feel like I want to check more stuff. Are we ready? db.select from. Let's help it out just a little bit. .select. Yeah. Just so that it knows its keysly. Just little hints. Okay, we're gonna add routes, lib, tests, implement. Let's do autorouter /list. That's actually used. Implement autorouter /list. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do the test and implementation separately. It might do the test on its own, but it might not. That looks about right. Yeah. Okay. No need to run a shell. Write a test for write a test in test /route autorouters /list. Okay. Run that test. It fails because of some kind of syntax issue. Why is it doing that? Z.infer. That's really strange. Okay. DB does not exist. So we need to return the database here. That's fine. I think I'm returning it now. Object literal may only specify known properties. Okay. You know, you don't need to do that. We can just use the seed data. That's what I meant to give it. I meant to, okay. Yeah, I did this myself. So, yeah, let's ignore the cache. We wanted to have access to the seed database. Without that, it's not going to know that it can use that for tests. Okay, this I don't understand. That's not how KY syntax works. KY is very popular. It should know how that works. And then you can just say autorouters equals autorouter like that. It's overcomplicating it. Okay. You know, actually, a really great way to do these, and we did this in the test in the fake, is you can just do res to match inline snapshot, which is a new bun feature that's really cool. I was talking about it on the stream earlier. The problem is this type doesn't really exist yet. For some reason, it's not populated. So I don't know if they've addressed that, actually. Let's see. Let's see if anybody acknowledged me. All I crave at the end of the day. Types. You know what? Sevi-bar. Author Sevi-bar, maybe? Somebody close it. There we go. Oh, I gave the hotfix. All right. Well, thanks me. Nobody's weighed in here yet, but that's fine. That's cool. Surprised, I don't know, maybe I'm the only person to realize that, but kind of feels like I'm wrong. But I've seen it on like 3 projects now, so I don't think I'm wrong. Okay, so we can do expect res to match inline snapshot. But there's one other thing we have to do. Wherever we use it in this module, we have to replace all the timestamps because the timestamps are going to change. So we have to create this function and then use it all over the place so that the timestamps don't get in the way of those snapshots being consistent. So go to git test server, create a new file, replace timestamps, and then this recursively replaces timestamps. And then we should be able to jump back. Ooh. And do replace timestamps on this response. Cool. pglite is closed. I think that's a random error. Might be because I'm running multiple test files. We'll have to figure out 500 error. Invalid type. We got lots of problems. Zod validation. Expected string received null for website URL. So I think this is a delta between the public schema and the database schema. But we do have to fix it. So auto router schema, if we go in here, these are optional. Expected string received null for license URL. Expected string received null. So I guess optional and nullable, it's being the database probably returns null, and that's problematic. I'll just make these nullable because I don't really care about the distinction right now. I do care in some cases about the distinction, but not at this stage. That closing client logline is kind of annoying me too, so let's get rid of that. Cool. And I think the reason I can't run multiple tests is actually because of this guy. Oh, here's a new problem. The UUIDs also cause the results to vary. Not a lot you can do about that, actually. Let's see. What's something we could do? We could number them. That's a interesting solution. So we could give them each a number so that we're consistent. We could also just replace them with a UUID too. So timestamp regex. So we could say also match UUIDs. Yeah. So that's a really hacky solution. It'd be better to say like UUID 1, 2, 3, and then you could see if the UUIDs change. You could also do that with timestamps, kind of order them. But anyway, let's say man, I don't know what to call a function that does this. It's not really normalizing. It's like a snapshot preprocessing to make it more consistent. Let's call it consistent. What is the verb form of consistent? I could call it make consistent. Make consistent. I like that. Make consistent. Ooh, how do you spell consistent? I think it's with an E, not an A. Yeah, it's an E. Okay, so we renamed some stuff. Let's make sure make consistent tent. Can't find variable, make consistent. What am I doing wrong? Test fixtures, make consistent. Am I like typoing all over the place? Make consistent. What are you talking about? Can't find variable, make consistent. Autorouter's list test. What are you going on about? Oh. It's within the method make consistent. Yeah, there's a typo. Cool. Yep. Okay, so it's complaining about the snapshot, but this is actually a good update. So we want to do update snapshots. How great is that kind of test where you just have the payload just written in the test? Beautiful. How did you learn math, Sevi? You just grind it from traditional schooling? What makes you think I'm good at math? Absurd. How do you learn math? I don't know. It's a good question. If you have a problem you really like, or you're obsessed with, you can go pretty deep. So like, a lot of the space of useful graphics problems, there's a bunch of like really key algorithms. So for example, ray intersection. I don't know, electronics, I thought it had a lot, and you complained to me about it before. I don't know if any of the math is hard math, though. Let me think. Is there hard math? Where is there hard math? I don't know where there's hard math. There's just a lot of math. There's just a lot of... It's like any graphics programming thing. It just has a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. The algorithms get pretty complicated. But algorithms are a totally different class of monster. Yeah. But like ray intersections, stuff like that. That's really just graphics programming. And so like if you have to make a game and if you make a game engine and you make a like obstacle detection or anything like that, you'll do some kind of ray detection. And a lot of libraries make it easy, but then you need to do something weird. Like you're like, I actually need the intersection against a curve or a sphere. And you find out that that's a solved problem from Claude or whatever. But yeah, Claude makes math problems a lot easier. Or O1. I actually that's the only thing I use O1 for is when I have a really tricky math problem. Okay, snapshot test for autorouter's list. It's all going to be easy from here because it now has the structure for how we want these endpoints. So there's nothing complicated. As who was it? Somebody said recently that B2B SaaS was just shoveling data around or something. That's what it's always been. But somebody was like, "Oh, AI is going to do all of this." It is that. It is that. What are you complaining about? Undefined or null, string, undefined version, or incompatible. Okay. It's complaining about version. Hey, I just joined. Can you briefly explain what you are building? We are working on autorouting.com. So autorouting.com is a website where you can download data sets for solving autorouting problems. Autorouting problems are... it's like drawing traces on a circuit board. I should really have a screenshot here. If you go to autorouting.com, the first thing should be an explanatory screenshot or animation. I should put an animation on here. Yeah, so we're doing database schema tests, and then we'll maybe do deployment. I don't know if I can do deployment on stream because the chance of me leaking a database is maybe too high. I might be able to do it on stream. But it's pretty annoying. So I'll probably do it off stream. We'll do all the routes. We'll get the API working. And deployment is also a lot of waiting around. So I usually do it while I'm like watching TV for initial deployments, not like, production deployments that are out there, but you're waiting for like 20 minutes at a time. It's not great stream content unless I was doing something else. Anyway, okay, animation on autorouting.com. I could also just show you what autorouting is on the tscircuit.com. Speaking of tscircuit.com, if you're watching and you haven't gone here and hit sign up or whatever, you should do that because I'm low on my KPIs this month. So, you know, my little trip to Taipei, I think I wasn't active enough. So get in there and sign up already. It takes 5 seconds. It's a GitHub login. Anyway, auto routing. So this board is, this board is broken. I keep forgetting. Component name mismatch, hook name, component prop name, LED1. Oh, that's a new error. Oh, that's a new error. Oh, interesting. Oh, yeah, that's not how you're supposed to use that. Oh, very interesting. Okay, that is actually an appropriate error. I didn't know that. Okay, anyway, auto routing. So this board, these lines are the auto routes. And if we turn on our fancy cloud server for auto routing, it'll actually fully route the board. Because I think there's some issue where it's not fully routing the board. Ooh, still not fully routing the board. It doesn't like to route these pins unless you explicitly tell them they're connected. Anyway, so we have a data set of these that's really big that I can't show because I broke the website while frantically trying to fix it. And it was a really shitty architecture because it was very early on in TS Circuit. So we're re-architecting it with a better architecture. Because, you have to live in your software. You know what I mean? If you write really bad code, you have to live in it. And it kind of sucks. So, yeah. Okay, public schema. We got some issues here. I think this is going to cause problems, this enum. So I'm going to change that to... I don't know if I'll make it optional. Yeah, there's like a discrepancy between the Zod types and all that. Auto routers, blah, 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 blah. Oh, these are so long. Stringer null is not a stringer null. Nullable is not assignable to string. Something is nullable. Maybe this is nullable. Does nullable include optional? Maybe it does. Oh, so hard to read. Not assignable to type. Type is not assignable to type. I'm just going through each property here. Auto router ID, auto router name, version. Oh, no, that should be fine. Version. It might be being anal about the optional things. I wish man. Let's see if the AI can fix it with that that small adjustment I made. If it's complaining about this, or I think it might be complaining about this or undefined thing. That's garbage. Okay, so this version, maybe it's not. Version, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Oh, interesting. Wait. So it's for actual electronic circuits. Does this have anything to do with Node-RED? No, but I'm curious why you think so. People have been talking about Node-RED, it feels like, for like eons. It's been like something people mention to me. But do people use Node-RED? What is it being used for? Node-RED is a flowchart framework, I think. Browser-based flow editing. They haven't even changed their webpage. Oh, all right. I think they're cool. What is this? That looks like hardware. Run locally on a device. Oh, yeah. Everybody in hardware wants to make like easy drag and drop programs. It's not the way. LLMs are the way. Yeah, people have been talking about this forever. Show me the code. I don't know. All right. Okay, anyway, that type issue is fixed. Great. Love it. Fixed types. Probably going to have a couple more little things like that. Minor kerfuffles, I might say. All right, that's our system. So we're going to add our routes, add our lib, add our tests. And then we're going to say, ooh, it added a lot there. DB structure is really big. libdb structure is really big. It might also be overkill. I think it's overkill. So let's add that to our add or ignore. Because the bigger you make your context, the more problems you can create for yourself. DB structure is really nice, but I'm a little worried about it, because it has like these SQL files that kind of tell you the structure of your database. Okay, tests, routes, lib. All right, that's a small enough context, I think. Okay, implement autorouters / get. All easy from here on out, in theory. Need access to that O3. Do this whole project for me. Go, go, go. Oh, it's writing a test. Very fancy, very fancy. I love when it tries to write the snapshots. You don't have to do that. It always over-tests too, which I think is so funny. Like, it'll do like 5 tests. I just do happy path tests. Happy path tests are just the working tests, but it always writes like 3 tests. It tests 404s and all that shit. It's good. AI writes better code sometimes. It's one of the few cases where the code is reliably a little bit more extensive. Oh, CTX error doesn't exist. Okay. I don't even know if that test file is gonna... Okay, the test file was created. Search params, autorouter ID. Okay, I don't know why that's happening. Hey, okay, all right. We got some problems. All right. So we're gonna import some middlewares to make it so that it can create errors. This is all just winner spec specific stuff. So with CTX error, we can do with cores too. Before auth, we will do cores. We'll also do with request logging. We can also do with CTX error. Okay. I don't know about that order though. Let's do request logging first, then CTX error. Yeah. Okay. I like it. So we've added some middlewares. So yeah, is this gonna work now? I saw like briefly. Current transaction is aborted. Oh geez. Sometimes VS Code kind of breaks the scrolling. It's not me being bad at scrolling. Advisory lock. I don't know. I'm just gonna remove everything. Do we want how many? Man, do we need tests in separate files? Lock released. There's supposed to be a mutex. PG Lite is closed. Okay, so that's not good. I think the issue is because they're in the same file. It is Yeah, I forget how this stuff works. So let's do get by ID. Yeah, let's do get by ID. And we'll just have this one test file, or that one test, and then we'll do get by name .test.ts. Ooh, what did I do? I don't know what happened. Get by ID. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what just happened. Something in the drag and drop got a little crazy there. Backend cursor. Okay, these are our get by name tests. And then we'll do a get 400. Although the get 400 is kind of useless. Get 400. So 400 error, bad requests, etc. And we got to copy over the imports. All right. Hopefully it copies that pattern and keeps one test per file. I might have to tell it to do one test per file, which is fine. These are going to be annoying to run now. But yeah, just the downside of PG Lite. There's a lot of upsides, but some of the database management is definitely a downside. Schema main already exists, so it's reusing the database client, I think. Oh, there are still 2 tests in here. Autowriter's Git should return 404. Oh, there's a 404 test as well. Oh my gosh, it's really writing a lot of tests. Oy. All right. Get 404.test.ts. Okay, cool. So it's wrong about the snapshot, but very close. And it'll get it right next time after it sees what the correct answer is. Okay, so get 400 works. Get 404. That also works. I had to update the snapshot. It's fine. I should probably... Yeah, I don't care. I'm just going to update the snapshots. If it looks wrong, I'll find it in the test file after. Okay, get by ID. Yeah, that kind of makes sense that didn't work. So when you have a bunch of seed data, you usually want to return an object that makes it easy to access that seed data. So seed database, we're going to return like, kind of like, I don't know, seed, seed data. I don't like to use the word data, but seed, seed references. I don't know. So we'll say dataset one ID, dataset 2 ID. Yeah, I like that. And we can just return these at the bottom. Okay. Cool. Okay, and then from our fixture, we will return this object called seed that will contain our seed data. Love it. Okay, so now we pull out the seed data. Ooh, what's up with this try catch? What? Is it expect? Oh, it's because it's 404 expecting an error. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Yeah, what do we care about? We don't care about the errors. Get by name, get by ID. Those are the ones we care about. Okay, so now we're gonna pull out the seed data. We're going to say seed dot autorouter 1 ID. We can do that for get by name as well. Oh, actually, autorouter name should work. Okay, cool. So get by ID, update snapshot. Nice. Does that look like a good snapshot? It does. So we're good. And then the last test to check is get by name. Oh, I got a reproduction of this issue. This is the issue I reported to these guys. How did I get a repro? That's crazy. It's so particular. I already gave them a pretty consistent reproduction. But wow, interesting. Get WASM table entry. That's tough. I don't know what's going on there. We'll just skip the test for now. I think it works. Wow. Okay, that was painful. That was not smooth sailing. Separate tests into separate files, but separate file tests are way better. It makes it easier in many ways. Since you separate files. Also makes it easier to find tests. I can never find the test I'm looking for when I don't have multiple files because you have to scroll down forever. All right, so kind of a short one, and I didn't completely finish this. I do hope to get this live tonight, but I actually have to eat dinner. I got to make dinner for me and my lady. So maybe a late night stream, but just going to be a short one for now. So talk later. Definitely sign up for tscircuit.com, you know, and help out my KPIs if you're not signed up. Otherwise, I got to write like a bunch of blog posts, you know, do a bunch of distribution stuff. So yeah, get to it. And